Now, she's been a tabloid favourite for the last 30 years as an actress, photographer and former girlfriend of Prince Andrew, but Kustar's life hasn't been short of dramas. Just yesterday, she walked free from court after being dramatically cleared of stealing a £40,000 painting.
Well, in a moment we'll be speaking to Ku in her first interview since clearing her name. First, here's a reminder of what she's been through.
Life could have turned out very differently for Kustar. She was the Kate Middleton of her day, a beautiful brunette who captured the heart of a royal, dating Prince Andrew in the 1980s. 10 years later, Ku met financier Warren Walker. They were due to marry, but he called off the wedding just days before Ku was due to walk down the aisle. She was 7.5 months pregnant. Her daughter Tatiana is now 16. In February 2011, Ku was declared bankrupt over an unpaid hotel bill of £38,000. Then last summer she was accused of stealing a £40,000 painting from the home of her former partner Warren Walker. Well, Ku joins us now along with her lawyer, Edward Henry.
Good to see you both.
Good to see both of you. Now, I know, Ku, that you don't generally give interviews, do you, or speak about this, but this concerns is something that you're very, very passionate about, to do with legal aid. But, and you have experience, really, of why it's so necessary because of this case and the need there. So just in case, before we get on to that, that people don't know about it all, can you talk us through what happened? You took the painting and found yourself with it.
I have property, like a lot of people that have been together for a long time. You have property at my ex-partner's house. So I went and I recovered my own painting. I didn't steal anything. So I recovered my own painting, and we have unresolved issues. So there was a hope there that we would be able to sit down and talk. And things got complicated when the police were called. In the end, I gave up all rights to my painting. I said, fine, I will assign my rights in my painting to you, and hopefully we will now be able to speak, to dialogue, enter into dialogue, and to resolve the outstanding issues that remain between us privately, quietly and peacefully.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he's not here to put his side of the story, and he always...
This isn't about
I was about to say, because it was inspiring for you, because at one point you were potentially facing jail, weren't you?
I was facing jail for over a year, for about a year. I mean, I was arrested in July last year. They said they weren't taking any further action. And then they decided to reopen the case a month later. So basically, I was arrested twice. The point being that because of my experience, it has come to my attention that there's a serious problem in our community, in our society, in England. And that is the problem of, which is a human rights problem, of a fair trial. Article 6 it is in the Human Rights Act, I believe, right to a fair trial. And there's an inequality of arms. In other words, if you're wealthy, you can afford to go to the top lawyers and pay and be represented. And if you don't have any money to pay for lawyers, ostensibly you're supposed to go and get representation anyway through legal aid. I've had the experience over the years, not in this particular case, but over the years, of being unable to get legal aid.
And against Ku in those cases, she was ranged against, because her ex-partner is extremely wealthy, a QC, junior barristers, solicitors, against one woman.
But she was lucky that she got you then.
Very lucky.
Well, she could have got, Ku could have got, because contrary to the stereotype about her being very wealthy, she's not. But she could have got.
That, because just to say, because that's the argument for the cutting legal aid, isn't it? That it's a huge bill. That's what the government said. It's a huge bill which we've got to bring down. Isn't it? And people would look at someone.
Well, the thing is that legal aid has steadily reduced over the last 10 years. Legal aid rates last went up in the last century, and certainly for the independent bar, legal aid rates have remained at 1997 rates and then been cut successively. So we're getting to the stage now where the whole edifice will collapse if the government continues with its plan to cut a further £220 million from legal aid.
Are you suggesting that as in your case, that if a lawyer likes the look of a case and wants to help someone, they should do it for nothing?
Well, this is what we did in this case because we wanted...
So should more lawyers do that?
We wanted to... Well, obviously lawyers have to live, but we wanted to draw attention to this serious problem. Now, interestingly in this case, Koo could have got legal aid, but she could not have used the solicitor of her choice, whom she trusted, because he didn't do legal aid anymore because of the poor rates. So he agreed to represent her pro bono. I agreed to represent her pro bono. It was a pleasure to do so. But the really serious thing that we want to emphasise to everybody out there, because this is a real problem, the government is now saying that in the future you will not be able to choose your own defence lawyer. You won't be able to. Now, there are people in this society who will invariably become defendants in criminal cases, not because they're career criminals, but because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or because they've suffered a false accusation. And if they're not allowed to choose their own lawyer, and they're assigned to some impersonal corporation, then this is not real justice.
No, indeed. Well, we have talked and highlighted the debate about legal aid, and we've got that a lot on this programme. Just to come back to you, Koo, where do you go from here? Do you feel now that life is more balanced and peaceful for you?
More balanced. Every day I wake up in the morning and I meditate. I then do about an hour of yoga, my personal practice, just to remind myself about that. Stay balanced, whatever the day may bring. But in cases where I've been involved in litigation now for a number of years, unfortunately, but some things are, it's not a choice often. When you get involved in litigation, you get, I think the expression was collared. You get literally dragged into court by your collar. If somebody decides to sue you, Kate, you can't very well say, this is ridiculous, I'm paying no attention to it at all whatsoever, because they'll come knocking on your door and you have to go to court. And then it can become a real problem. You have to pay for lawyers, you have to deal with the case, plus the whole nature of litigation is terribly wearing and draining on you. And it's not just the financial burden, it's an emotional stress. It's terrifying the thought that you might be deprived of your liberty. And to face being deprived of your liberty without having proper legal representation.
Or representation you feel you can trust.
Yeah.
We have to leave it there. Very good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in this morning. Thanks very much.